vor einer Minute begonnen. 2 Ballwechsel sind gespielt, 15 beide. Gala, Garcia hier im Vordergrund. Die ist Spanierin, kommt aus Barcelona, wie so viele ihrer männlichen Kollegen, auch dort im Trainingszentrum von Barcelona. Und das ist Anke Huber. Und das sind also die ersten Impressionen. Dieses Spiel also hat gerade eben begonnen und ich denke, Uli, ganz kurz nochmal mit dir weiter.
Ja, allzu viel werden sie nicht
Das
verpassen.
Spiel mit einem Break für die Karlsdorferin. Jetzt allerdings ihrerseits ihr Aufschlagspiel abgibt. Etwas überraschend sicherlich auch für die Außenseiterin in dieser Partie. So muss man sie einfach bezeichnen, die Spanierin Gala Garcia. Viele von Ihnen werden sicherlich nicht allzu viel mit diesem Namen anfangen können. 22 Jahre ist sie alt, geboren in Madrid. Ich habe es ganz zu Anfang der Übertragung erwähnt. Wie so viele andere ihrer männlichen Kollegen, wie Bruguera, wie Berasategui, wie Moya, auch in Barcelona zu Hause. Dort das Trainingszentrum der spanischen Cracks. Mittlerweile wird Gala Garcia an Nummer 65 der Welt geführt. Das hat sie einem außergewöhnlichen Erfolg bei den French Open zu verdanken, als sie als Qualifikantin direkt bis ins Achtelfinale vorstieß. Dort unter anderem auch bei den French Open die gesetzte Barbara Paulus aus Österreich bezwang. Das ist also der bislang größte Erfolg der jungen Spanierin. Fühlt sich wie traditionell ja fast alle Spanier mehr auf dem Belag Asche, auf Sand zu Hause. Auf Gras kann sie noch keine Erfolge vorweisen. Tja, und Anke, sie hat ja vor einer Woche, Uli Potowski hat es gerade schon angedeutet, ihr erstes Turnier auf Rasen gewonnen. Also auch bei ihr ähnlich ja, wie bei Boris Becker, der in Queens erfolgreich war, optimale Voraussetzungen, optimale Vorbereitungen auf dieses Grand Slam Turnier.
15-40.
Ja, mit viel Gefühl. Und erneut also das Break. Bislang konnte noch keine Spielerin ihr Service durchbringen. Also mit Vorteilen jetzt für Anke Huber. Gleich mehr hier vom 14er. Gerade der erste Ballwechsel in diesem 4. Spiel des ersten Satzes hinter uns gebracht. 15:0 für Anke Huber bei Break 4. 2:1 die Führung für die Deutsche. Sehr druckvoll, sehr sicher das Spiel gleich zu Beginn der Weltranglisten 5. Zu 0 dieses Spiel, also 3:1 die Führung jetzt für Anke Huber, die ja ein Jahr hinter sich gebracht hat, das sicherlich mitentscheidend ist für den Verlauf ihrer Karriere. Durch die Trennung von ihrer langen Bezugsperson, von Boris Breskva, der ja nicht nur Trainer war, sondern ja auch so etwas wie ein Ersatzvater. Seit 1983 haben die beiden ja zusammengearbeitet, fast 12 Jahre lang. gab es doch eine ganz große Veränderung in der Karriere von Anke Huber. Jetzt mit ihrem neuen Coach Zoltan Kucharski hat sie vor allen Dingen auch ihr Spiel umgestellt, beachtet mehr ihre Beinarbeit, hat sehr viel mehr in Sachen Fitness getan und natürlich ganz zu schweigen von den ganzen psychologischen Änderungen im Leben der Anke Huber, die ja immer galt als das ewige Talent, dann aber in den entscheidenden Punkten als nervenschwach bezeichnet wurde. Das hat sich in den letzten Wochen und Monaten geändert. Resultat, die Erfolge bei den Damenmasters im November, als Anke ja das Finale erreichte gegen Steffi Graf und natürlich auch das Finale bei den Australian Open im Januar gegen Monica Seles. Gute Übersicht bewiesen. Gala Garcia, die im rechten Moment hier einmal nach vorne geht und dann auch gegen die Laufrichtung von Anke Huber spielt. Gutes Auge.
Garcia.
Ja, Anke steht sehr weit im Feld, kann damit die Bälle von Gala Garcia natürlich sehr früh nehmen und kann die Spanierin so auch recht früh unter Druck setzen. Auf die Linie. Damit also zweite Break-Möglichkeit für Anke Huber. Leicht vergeben, diese Chance. Da war sicherlich mehr drin. Aber Für eine reine Sandplatzspielerin wie Gala Garcia ist es natürlich auch sehr schwer bei diesen Bällen. Normalerweise würde sie ja reinrutschen und hier muss sie die Bälle auslaufen. Also da fehlt dann doch ab und zu das Timing. Und damit auch folgerichtig das Break für Anke Huber. Sie führt hier 4:1 gegen Gala Garcia. Was hat sich noch alles verändert im letzten Jahr, seit dem letzten Wimbledon-Auftritt von Anke Huber in ihrem Leben? Das eine hatte ich ja schon angedeutet, die Trennung von Boris Breskva. Das andere ist, dass sie jetzt ein Zuhause gefunden hat in Österreich, in Going. Das ist in der Nähe von Kitzbühel. Und auch einen neuen Manager gefunden hat mit Ralf Scheitenberger von der MS Consulting in Salzburg. Von Ion Tiriak hatte sich Anke Huber ja Ende 95 getrennt. Hat jetzt also denselben Manager wie Michael Stich, Bernd Karbacher oder auch David Prinosil, wie also das gesamte deutsche Davis Cup Team, wenn man mal von Boris Becker absieht. Ja, auch daran arbeitet sie mit Zoltan Kucharski am Aufschlag. Sicherlich noch eine ihrer Schwächen. Dann ist es sicherlich von Vorteil, wenn einem ab und zu mal ein Ass gelingt, so wie gerade eben. Ansonsten, ich habe es vorhin schon mal angedeutet, wird viel Wert auf die Beinarbeit gelegt. Und das kommt der Anke Huber ja gerade hier auf Rasen sehr zugute. Denn wenn man da nicht richtig zum Ball steht, dann hat man bei dem doch etwas schnelleren Spiel im Vergleich zum Sandspiel keine Chance, den Ball vernünftig und mit Druck vor allen Dingen zu spielen. Anke steht bei den Aufschlägen ihrer Gegnerin 1-2 Meter vor der Grundlinie, also im Feld. Wobei man sagen muss, dass die Aufschläge von Garcia auch alles andere als sehr effektvoll sind. Ja. Da hätte Anke eigentlich auch vorrücken müssen, denn das probate Mittel gegen einen Stop ist nun mal der Gegenstop und da hätte sie eigentlich ein wenig mehr im Halbfeld stehen müssen. Diese Breakmöglichkeit nutzt Anke Huber also. Garcia Leon schafft also es erneut nicht, ihre eigenen Aufschlag durchzubringen. Anke Huber gewinnt den ersten Satz nach genau 20 Minuten mit 6:1. Mit dem zweiten sind wir gleich wieder da. 6:1 also nach 20 Minuten für Anke Huber. Es deutet sich das an, was im Prinzip ja alle von dieser Partie erwartet haben, dass es eine klare Sache für die Weltranglistenfünfte werden wird, die ja über viele Jahre hinweg immer so um die Top 10 herum spielte, damit auch zufrieden war, in der Welt zwischen 9 und 15 und 18 gelegen zu sein, die eigentlich nie mehr machen wollte und erst mit ihrem Wechsel, ihrer endgültigen Trennung von Brescia, diese Einstellung endgültig geändert hat. Belohnt durch die Tatsache, alleine schon jetzt in der Welt die Nummer 5 zu sein. Ein typischer Punktgewinn für Anke Huber. Direkt mit ihrem Aufschlag versucht sie also ihre Gegnerin unter Druck zu setzen und macht letztendlich auch den Punkt. Sicher über Kopf 1:0, also auch das erste Spiel im zweiten Satz an die Deutsche. Erster Punkt gespielt, also hier auf dem 14er. 15:0 für Gala Leon Garcia, die in ihrer Karriere 5 sogenannte Future-Titel gewonnen hat. Kann man vielleicht vergleichen mit der zweiten Bundesliga im Fußball oder bei anderen Sportarten. Da spielen dann also die Spielerinnen hauptsächlich jenseits der Weltranglistenposition 80 bis 100. Wie gesagt, da ist Gala Leon Garcia relativ erfolgreich. Für die erste Garde langt es für die 22-jährige Spanierin allerdings nicht. Auch das vierte Aufschlagspiel von Gala Leon Garcia geht also verloren. Konnte noch nicht einmal ihr Service durchbringen. Aber wenn man ihre Aufschläge auch anschaut, dann weiß man sicherlich auch warum. Die sind einfach zu harmlos. Sie kann damit überhaupt nicht die Gegnerin auch nur im geringsten unter Druck setzen. abgegeben von der Stuhlschiedsrichterin. 30:15 damit. Da haben wir es im Bild. Mit den Donna Summer. Also aus meiner Sicht war der auch neben der Linie, aber sowohl der Linienrichter als auch die Stuhlschiedsrichterin geben diesen Ball gut. Wollen wir uns dem mal anschließen. 40:15, 2 Spielbälle zum 3:0 in diesem zweiten Satz. Überpowered diese Vorhand von Gala und Garcia. 3:0 also, sieht nach einem raschen Erfolg für Anke Huber aus. Hier also die Zeitlupenstudien von Anke Huber, die, wenn wir jetzt mal gleich auf ihr Spiel achten werden, auch gelernt hat, Schläge zu variieren. Das heißt also nicht immer nur Topspin zu spielen, sondern auch ab und zu mal ein Slice einzustreuen. Auch mal den Mut besitzt, nach vorne zu gehen, auch mal aggressiv nach vorne geht. Sicherlich auch das Verdienst von Zoltan Kucharski, der im Übrigen ja auch mal ehemaliger Tourspieler war, der Coach von Anke Huber, das in der Welt bis immerhin Position 77 geschafft hat und auch schon einen Einsatz für das ungarische Davis Cup Team absolvierte. Klassenunterschied zwischen den beiden. Und das ist ja auch irgendwie so ein bisschen das Frustrierende am Damentennis überhaupt. Dass zwischen den Top-10-Spielerinnen und alles, was danach kommt, ja im Prinzip auch schon wieder eine Klasse Unterschied ist. Das ist bei den Herren natürlich ganz anders. Da ist es jederzeit im Bereich des Möglichen, dass die Nummer 65 die Nummer 5 schlägt. Hier dagegen läuft doch dann alles in seinen vorgegebenen Bahnen. Jetzt aber mal 2 schöne Punkte in Folge für die Spanierin. Mit ein bisschen mehr Mut hätte man den Ball auch Volley nehmen können von Anke Huber. Da ist sie auf Nummer sicher gegangen und wurde dafür fast sogar bestraft. Nahezu klassisch, wenn am Ende auch ein wenig zu verspielt. Sie gilt ja ein wenig als fröhlicher, als offener Mensch, diese Gala Leon Garcia. Und sie wird mit dieser Niederlage sicherlich auch zurechtkommen. So es denn eine Niederlage wird, das wage ich einfach mal zu prognostizieren. Aber da merkt man auch an, dass der Anke Huber das Spiel auf Rasen Spaß macht. Das war ja nicht immer so. Hier in Wimbledon war sie ja nicht besonders erfolgreich. Sie spielt ihr 7. Wimbledon-Turnier und hat noch nie mehr als das Achtelfinale erreicht. Es war ja immer mehr der ungeliebte Belag für die Deutsche. Das scheint sich, so hoffen wir natürlich auch, in diesem Jahr zu ändern. Da gibt es Applaus von Anke Huber für diesen Return. Ist auch zugleich der erste direkte Return-Winner von Gala Leon Garcia, aber der war wirklich fein gespielt. Sie haben es vielleicht über die Außenmikrofone gehört. Komm jetzt, konzentrier dich. Die Forderung von Anke, doch etwas genauer, etwas konzentrierter zu Werk zu gehen. So zum Beispiel. Der vielleicht beste Schlag von Gala Leon Garcia, diese Rückhand. Ist aber auch der einzige Schlag, mit dem sie tatsächlich mal ein bisschen Druck, mal ein bisschen Power machen kann. Ja, wenn auch mit Mühe bei diesem Aufschlagspiel, aber 6-1, 5-0, ich denke, das wird wahrscheinlich der letzte Seitenwechsel in diesem Match sein. Tja, genau 38 Minuten gespielt, 6-1, 5-0 für Anke Huber, die doch eigentlich in allen Belangen ihrer Gegnerin überlegen ist, die vielleicht dieses Match auch nutzen kann und soll, sich mit den äußeren Gegebenheiten hier vertraut zu machen, mit der Atmosphäre auf den Plätzen, mit dem Rasen, der dann doch wieder unterschiedlich ist zu dem in Rosmalen, wo sie ja das Turnier gewonnen hat. Mit anderen Worten, nichts anderes als eine Trainingseinheit unter Wettkampfbedingungen. Zu lang. Tja, wie kann man das am besten ausdrücken? Ein geschenktes Spiel für die Spanierin, die damit einem zu 0 in diesem zweiten Satz entgeht. Bejubelt von den Fans hier auf dem 14er. Sieht auch irgendwie besser aus, ein 1-6, 1-6 als eine 0 in diesem zweiten Satz. Das hören Sie garantiert über die Mikrofone. Erneut die Aufforderung an sich selbst, sich mehr zu konzentrieren. Und das ist es ja auch, was gerade Anke Huber immer wieder sich selbst vorreden muss und sich selbst auch vorleben muss auf dem Tennisplatz. Höchste Konzentration, weil sonst leidet ihr Spiel dann doch zu sehr darunter. War ein Versuch wert, die Linie lang zu versuchen. No sweat, würde an dieser Stelle ein berühmter Kollege von mir sagen. Keine Probleme für Anke Huber. 6-1, 6-1, wobei man den Spielgewinn von Gala Garcia in diesem zweiten Satz sicherlich unter die Rubrik verschenkt einordnen dürfte. Tja, was hat uns dieses Spiel gezeigt? Dass Anke Huber erstens Spaß hat, auf Rasen zu spielen. Kein Wunder nach ihrem Erfolg in Rosmalen letzte Woche. Dass sie zweitens ihr Spiel positiv umgestellt hat, dass sie Schläge bringt, die sie früher kaum in ihrem Repertoire hatte. Ich erinnere an den Slice, und dass auch ihr Aufschlag langsam aber sicher immer bessere Konturen annimmt. Eins noch vielleicht zur nächsten Gegnerin, da kann es zum Duell der Generationen kommen. Ein sicherlich interessantes Duell, denn möglicherweise hat es Anke Huber in der zweiten Runde mit Pam Shriver zu tun. der großen alten Dame mittlerweile auf der Damentour, 33 Jahre alt, 5-fache Wimbledon-Siegerin im Doppel. Das wäre doch eine äußerst erfreuliche zweite Runde, wenn es zu diesem Duell kommen würde. Gleich geht es also weiter mit Uli Potowski. Das war's hier vom 14er.
Time, and at the age of 27 is probably at the height of her powers.
1 minute.
The number one player in the world for as long as anyone can remember, and with 19 Grand Slam championships to her name. Heading now only for the lady who lies ahead of her in terms of the number of Grand Slam singles won, Margaret Smith Court of Australia with 24. So this is how she reached this round. 3 straight sets victories, and none of them really giving her much trouble at all, although she did say against Baldoni that she didn't feel particularly good about her timing in that first set. Left knee, you'll see, has a little strap on it, and that was the problem that kept her out of the Eastbourne tournament. She was playing an exhibition match, in fact, and rather unhurt it, and we think that is to keep the patella in place. Well, now she's playing today one of the most interesting players in the draw, 15-year-old Martina Hingis from Switzerland. As you've heard from Sue Barker, still just 15. And I remember her as a 12-year-old winning that junior title in Paris, and I could hardly believe how well she played for such a frail girl as she was then, filled out nicely now, and hitting the ball with such sweet timing that she could threaten anybody. And this is how she reached the 4th round. 3 wins. Rachel Violet of Britain in the middle there, and Harvey Wild, she used to be Wild in the last round, in the 3rd round, dropping a set. So it will be Graf to open this 4th round match.
Love 50. Game is Graf. First one.
So now Virginia Wade is with me, and Virginia, this is the 4th meeting between these two, and it's something of a surprise to know that Graf has actually lost to Hingis the last time they played. That was in Rome on clay, but of course on grass here, what's going to happen?
Well, they played in the opening round of this tournament last year, which was a horrible match for Hingis to come out and play the #1 seed in her opening match in senior Wimbledon. She played junior Wimbledon a couple of times. She had shown us all her incredible talents, and then she comes out and has to played a top seed there, and she didn't do terribly well in that match. She won only 4 games. But she is a player who's capable of coping with the pace of a Steffi, but she has to really get off to a very good start early on to make any inroads.
So her first service game.
To be able to generate so much pace off the forehand when she got it a little bit late is really incredible.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 2 games to love.
So the defending champion has lost just 1 point so far, and that was a double fault. Well, no overrule from Ted Watts. But I think both players were expecting it to be given as an ace. Hingis had started to walk across.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 3 games to love plus.
And she's amazingly resilient, the defending champion. I mean, she had that bone spur removed from her left foot at the end of December. Then she had to have foot surgery and returning to tennis only in March. And she has this back problem which always afflicts her, and yet she seems to go on playing remarkable tennis.
I think she's even beginning to feel that she needs a little something wrong with her to make her focus. Sometimes when you expect it to win all the time, the pressure becomes overwhelming, and I think what happens is unconsciously you create a little something to give you an excuse in a way, although I don't think she really needs that. But I noticed that even her right wrist is taped as well. We've talked about some wrist injuries this tournament. Of course, in grass, because some of the balls shoot through and you're going to catch them a little late, the wrist is probably the most vulnerable part of your anatomy. But Steffi Graf is all over this match so far.
15 love.
Oh!
15 all. $30-50.
Certainly in very destructive form at the moment, that forehand.
$30-40. Game is Graf.
Just a little apology, the return of serve hitting the net.
Graf leads 4 games to love.
Well, we're used to seeing Steffi Graf rip through her matches, but this is a particularly fast one. And even as she begins to serve, spots of rain falling.
Love 15. Love 30.
So one double fault in each of her service games so far. Like all Graf's opponents, finding it difficult to live with the pace, forced into error, being made to rush her backhand.
$15-40.
Well, her forehand's in ruthless form already, but her serve is all over the place. Hardly any first serves. Maybe a little bit of a breeze up there blowing the ball.
Game is Hingis. Graf leads 4 games to 1. First set.
And prolonged applause for Hingis' first game, and it's a break of the champion's serve.
She was allowed a little help by those double faults, but the thing that has shown everybody how talented Hingis is her ability to play the right tactic. She isn't living with Steffi's pace at the moment, but she knows she's got to find a way to attack. So this last point, she made sure that she came into the net. she's made every return. Mind you, Steffi's got like 27% of her first serves in, so it's not her usual dynamic, brilliant serve, but this volley is good. That's a perfect place to hit a volley on grass. It had a little underspin. It was around the service line where the grass is still green and the ball bounces low. So it's very hard to move forward and get under it and make a passing shot. Her biggest problem is, of course, to stay with the power at John, as you said. Her instinct is so good, but she still can be beaten by raw power.
1-4.
$15. 15.
No, in fact, the score is love 30, but the umpire's got the score wrong. That happens occasionally. He got the first point wrong. Well, come on, Ted. Ted Watts, just a little bit of bother.
Love 30.
That's it. Ah, well played.
This young lady can do absolutely everything. It's a very good forehand there, and she knew that that was the ball to sneak into the net.
Oh, that is so perfectly placed.
15-40.
She has an instinct for the angles of the court.
Game is Graf. Graf leads 5 games to 1.
So she still has denied Hingis the pleasure of holding serve. 5-1. They're worried about the surface of the court. That little aside to the umpire was to say, look, it's getting slippery. And Mills, the referee, I think he's going to have one of those on-off days that no referee relishes. Some foreign body attacking her. Being buzzed. Well, I suppose we can commend her consistency, at least in the double fault department. She's getting in at least one a game. Another little appeal from Graf.
Yeah, play suspended.
And inevitable, I'm afraid. Play suspended after just 17 minutes, and the team comes on to bring the cover across the court as quickly as possible. Time is of the essence on these occasions, simply because a grass court with moisture on the surface is dangerous, and so if you allow it to gather there before the covers go on, then when the covers are removed, there is quite a while before the surface dries off. (5-1) and 30-15 then as they leave the court. So, Virginia, this is a very difficult time for the competitors.
I think that it's going to be one of those days where you just have to be ready for anything. Trouble is, if you start thinking that it is going to be delayed and that you might never play, and then you suddenly have to go on, that's even probably worse than if you're expecting to go on and then it rains.
What do you do when you leave the court in the middle of a match?
Well, presumably if you get hard enough, which I don't think either of these players did, although at this very moment the sun is coming out, you would probably go and shower or change your shirt or something and just relax. I mean, the dressing room isn't that far away.
And of course it's a chance for the coaches to talk to the players, which they can't do otherwise.
It actually is a chance. In this case, I don't think that these coaches need to tell their players too much. Of course, Steffi works in tandem with her coach, Heinz Guntert, and Martina works in tandem with her mother, who's still her coach. And so they have a very long-term relationship. They know what they're supposed to do out there. And I think the only thing Steffi might be given a little hint about is her first serve, because it's so totally unusual for her to be only getting in 1 out of every 4 first serves. In fact, the percentage is gone down to 22, I see from my IBM computer here.
22, that is very, very low indeed.
That's 1 out of 5 first serves, and normally you're talking at Steffi being at 3 to 4 out of 5.
So really, the little word from Heinz Gunther might be to do with the ball toss, or it might be to do with the where she's throwing it, but further forward perhaps is necessary. And certainly for the spectators, it's a difficult time too. Remember, many of these people will have been queuing all night for the tickets that are available on the day, and it amazes me every time I leave the club at night to see the little sort of village building up with cars parked alongside the curb and the people on the pavement under improvised shelter, sometimes even tents they bring. Quite remarkable.
They were there from Saturday night all over Sunday. I know I certainly enjoyed a day off, because I think this tournament is quite exhausting for everybody, and the players enjoy having a day off. In fact, Martina Hingis went to the big match at Wembley yesterday. And as did Boris Becker. It was great seeing Boris Becker on the television screens.
Wasn't that nice? I mean, at least he could take pleasure in something for Germany. If he couldn't win Wimbledon for Germany, which I think secretly he believed this year he might have done, he was certainly playing well enough when we saw him at Queen's, wasn't he? At least he could bask in the reflected glory of the German football team. Well, now, you were talking just now about the Graf serve, which is one of the great serves in women's tennis. I wonder if you could spot, if we look at it again, just what is going wrong today.
Everything looks fine to me. I think that what happens, to be honest, is that on a day like this, when it's quite windy, the ball toss goes straight up, and then just as it gets to a certain height, it moves. So I think it takes a little bit of adjustment to judge how much the ball's going to move and put it accordingly. Just watching her hit that forehand, she has been so good. Maybe we'll see another one here. She's been so good on the forehand down the line today. I mean, that has just been exploding off her racket. And so if she can be 5-1 and 30-15 up, hardly getting a first serve in, she's going to be pretty scary when she starts connecting with her first serves.
Of course, she is always vulnerable on windy days. You're quite right about that, because the toss is particularly high, one of the highest tosses in women's tennis. And the crowd here trying to get a Mexican wave going. Well, they were certainly doing that before play began on Saturday, the day when the reduced ticket prices allow the spectators to come and enjoy the tennis at more modest charges. Well, the score is 5-1 in this first set of the defending champion, Steffi Graf, against Martina Hingis. She's 30-15 on her serve, and hoping, like we all are, that these covers will soon be removed.
But the crowd's still enjoying themselves. They've queued for a long time out there, and they're not going to leave their seats. And I can tell you that it's just going to be one of those days today, because it seems to have stopped outside. Still a bit of moisture in the air, so they're not going to remove the covers for a little while yet. Just see what happens in the next few moments. But as you can see, no play going on anywhere here at Wimbledon. All the courts covered. They were done very quickly, so hopefully when they are removed. Defending champion Steffi Graf is just about to resume her match with Martina Hingis, just 2 points from taking the first set. That match you can see over on BBC One. But here on BBC Two, we're going to return to court number 1. Sabine Appelmans against Arantxa Santos.
So the match will be resumed with the match balls. They've warmed up with a set similar in wear to the ones that were in play when we came off court at 1:22. It's now 1:47. And Graf will be serving at 30-15, 2 points away from the first set.
30-15, Miss Graf to serve. Play.
Steffi might well have tried to come up, because she'd been keeping the ball absolutely within 3 feet of the baseline. She was surprised by the pass.
Set point.
Juice.
Well, I think that's the first forehand I've seen him miss.
Advantage was Hingis.
And thoroughly deserved applause for a very clever lob. And a very accurate one.
Juice. Advantage, Miss Graf.
So second set point.
Game for set, Miss Graf. 6 games to 1. New balls, please.
And with her first ace today, the champion takes the opening set after 20 minutes of actual play. So far, so good.
When she really needed to produce a first serve, when she was break point down, out came the first serve that she's been hiding all day, and 3 in a row. After all, Steffi Graf has spent a fair percentage of her tennis life out on this court right here. She should know this court inside out. And she's played, this is her 4th round. She's played 2 of her 3 matches on the center court, and this is her 3rd. And Martina Hingis hasn't yet won the right to play all her matches on the center court. Martina is seeded 16 here, and she's been out on the first row of courts playing her other matches. I watched her a lot playing her previous matches out on courts 4 and 5, and looking so relaxed. That's one of the features of her game.
So the first change of balls in the second set.
Oh!
$15 love.
Feeling the effects of a very early taken backhand.
$40 love. First game, second set. First set, Miss Graf.
I know Steffi didn't win a point that game, but she was keeping a tremendous length with her backhand, and so it's a lot of credit to Martina to have finally won the point. Just have a look at this sensational point right here. The serve is good, the return not quite up to her usual standard, but the backhand, that one looked as if it was going to possibly slide out, and it's Steffi who's in a little bit of trouble. That was the one that I thought was going to slide out. I was one behind. And here we go, a little touch here. She's got the whole thing covered except for that. So the only shot that Martina had a chance to win the point, and she came up with it. And that really is what we keep calling instinct on the tennis court.
So she's held serve for the first time. Graf, love one.
$15 love. $15 all.
Spitting again. Well, it's this fluttery rain, very light.
30-15.
bit of skill to be able to convert what is almost a winner into a winner yourself.
Well, a little smile there. Having to contend with some really difficult line-flinging drives from Graf today. And it's still a bit gusty. Heavy rain now. And I'm afraid Alan Mills is going to... Well, yes, he is. He is going to call them off. There it is. And what a sad moment. 1:57 after 27 minutes of play.
And just another 10 minutes of actual play here.
And the team does its work. They have a little competition, you know, among themselves, the groundsmen's teams and the court covering teams on all the courts to see who can cover the courts quickest. They have a little sweepstake going during the championships. Of course, the last 3 years, nobody's won anything because they haven't had to cover the courts at all, and we were being lulled into a sense of false security, I think, having had 3 glorious years, with only that memorable and sad day on the first Tuesday, 3 years ago, I think it was, when Steffi lost in the first round to Laurie McNeil, and the heavens opened. But since then, and apart from that day that year, it was fine, and since then it's been nothing but sunshine. So we're not used to this site, are we, Virginia?
No, always in the past it used to be that the Wimbledon fortnight was the guaranteed 2 weeks of sunshine or summer, and then it all changed and we had a series of just lousy years, and now it's changed back the last few years. This is one of those very awkward days, because on any other surface, well, you could probably play, but I take that back, because on the courts that they play in the States of the US Open, this would be even more treacherous.
Yes, they're very slippery when it's all damp, the surface. Well, I do believe the covers are going to be taken off again immediately. That was one of those little short, sharp showers, which, it's true, we had been threatened with. So the forecasters were absolutely right.
These covers are so heavy. They weigh something like 2 tons dry and 4 tons wet, and this center court one is obviously bigger than the others, so it probably weighs even more.
And it's the Royal Corps of Signals helping take these covers off from 11 Signals Regiment, who are based in Blandford in Dorset. And they're all new recruits with a maximum of 1.5 years service. In fact, the Army have been doing the #1 court cover since the last war, and the Royal Corps of Signals since 1966.
They even have the practice courts covered as well, so you know they've got every single court with a team of coverers, and then even up at Durangi they've got all the practice courts. If it gets really bad, they cover those too.
And it wasn't so long ago that only the centre one and the front row used to be covered, and then if you happened to be playing on a second row court outside, well, you just had to wait and wait until the courts dried off after whatever rain might fall. So things have moved along, and the whole organisation each year becomes a little more efficient.
They really have improved every single aspect that you could possibly think of. I mean, it really wasn't, John, that long ago that you couldn't even find practice if it was wet, and now there's abundance of it, and there are indoor courts if necessary.
Now, is there likely to be any advantage to one or the other, this second stoppage?
I always think the person who has a much clearer image of winning the match is probably going to be less affected. If you have any doubts about your success in a match, I think you are going to be very pushed into not thinking this is a disaster coming off all the time. You'd have to be very, very much a positive thinker to think that it would benefit you. On the other hand, they say that bad conditions are a leveler. They say that for the top players are going to be that much better in perfect conditions, but you put in the uncertainty, the variable of bad conditions, and that's going to bring them back down a notch.
Well, we've had a look at Steffi Graf's serve. It might be a good moment just to have a look at the court coverage of Martina Hingis, who is a lovely young natural athlete with a good serve, good ball toss, extended arm, throwing action of the racket head. Then she's balanced to move whichever way she needs to, in this case backwards a little. Not surprisingly, Steffi thumping those service returns, but nice and light on her feet here. The two-handed backhand. You have to get the racket back early on grass, and she's learned to do that. Her timing is really very good now. Back early again, in time to catch this one. Nearly too late, just caught it. And then pushing off again to see where the next is due on the backhand side now. A lovely natural timing there. And altogether a very compact game, speeding forward. Perhaps this is the area of her game I think that is going to improve most as she gets a little bit stronger, her court coverage. By contrast with Steffi Graf, who's arguably the greatest of the present female athletes in tennis, she is just a little bit slow.
I think that would be a true assessment. Oh, I wish that would stay, that blue sky. I think as she gets stronger, Martina Hingis, she's going to serve harder, and I think she is going to just have that little extra power in her body and her arms to generate more power.
So there is the score, just to remind you. Steffi Graf has won the first set. Hingis held her serve for the first time in the first game of the second set. Graf at 40-30 in game 2.
Let's hope the sunshine remains. The players will be back on court in just a moment. Of course, after Steffi, for inexperienced players, it's very difficult to know what to do when you have those breaks, and they've only been very short. But the sun is shining, and hopefully the players will be out on court very shortly. So let's rejoin our commentators now, Virginia Wade and John Barrett.
Well, everybody is in place, waiting for the players now. And of course the crowd very eager. Waiting, of course, I'm sure, many of them for Tim Henman, who, as you've heard from Sue Barker, will be out here next. Well, in fact, I think this group here in the front row, with the Union Jacks there, be subject of attention from the courtside photographers, because on the front of their T-shirts there, they spell out the word T-I-M. Well, guess who that's for? Henman will be the next match, and I'm sure we'll see a lot from this group of supporters. Well, Ted Watt's doing all the things that umpires do when they come out. One of the things, of course, is to dry off the seat. And of course, he's got his timer to think about, and then now he's plugging in the net cord, and here come the players. You probably saw Ted Watts with a piece of electrical equipment in his hand. That was the device which listens for the ball touching the net on its passage past on serve. It's an automatic let go system we're using this year for the first time, and it seems to be working very well. I think many people were delighted that that situation developed this year, because I, for one, was there it is, the little device which hears the lets, hears the ball hitting the let on serve. I, for one, was very worried that we might have one of the let court judges who customarily sit so close there being hit on the head and perhaps even losing an eye or something dreadful like that. It could easily have happened. I've seen some very near misses and all sorts of talk about helmets were going on, but in the end they decided to use this mechanical device, which, as I've said, is working very well. Well, now, what about getting your mind back into the groove, Virginia?
Obviously, it's the hardest thing to do for an interrupted match. When you go on for a match, you do all your preparation before. All the rehearsal has to be done probably even the night before in your mind, so that when you come to the match, you just have to concentrate on the moment and concentrate on what the simplest things, basically, you keep your mind on, and then the tougher things have already been managed mentally before. So it is something that you're not going to be preparing for, these interruptions. However, we know how tough Steffi Graf is mentally, but Martina Hingis also has shown us the sort of nonchalance that she has about matches. Whatever comes at her, she takes in her stride. She's so laid back. I mean, in the dressing room, she's very comfortable. Always, she's very relaxed. She's always ready to chat, or if anybody wants to chat. But the thing that amuses me is that despite all that, she has these moments of pique on the court, and she can get very irritated, and she'll bounce the racket and really, you know, get a little bit knocked if she doesn't like the way she's playing. And presumably that shows that she's got a fire burning under there.
And it also shows that she's 15.
I always remember when she played Anna Kournikova, the young Russian player, in the semi-finals. It might have been the quarterfinals of the juniors about 4 years ago, and everybody was watching this match. These two babies playing each other. They were both so good. And she didn't like one point. I think she might have missed a forehand or served a double or something, and she sort of bounced a racket, and the racket snapped, and she pretended it hadn't happened. And then when the umpire gave her a warning, she had to sort of admit that this racket was broken, so she went out to change it. But there is this little, she does have these little moments of pique. And I always think that it's better for a player to have a little fire that you can then control, rather than somebody who's so docile almost that it's hard to get them really fired up.
No problem getting fired up for this match against the defending champion. A repeat, you may remember, of a first round match last year here, when 14-year-old Martina was put in her place by the champion, 6-3, 6-1. But the last time they played, it was a victory for Hingis on the clay of Rome. She lost the first set then, as she did today. That was 2-6, and then won the next two, 6-2, 6-3. Well, it will be asking a great deal of her on grass, where Steffi has proved herself so perfectly poised and balanced, and so much in command of every aspect of the game over the last few years, that it would be asking an awful lot to expect an upset of that magnitude today.
And Steffi did say that she was making a lot of errors, and that she feels impatience can sometimes. Minute warm-up in the middle, and they've just had a 3-minute warm-up.
So it is 40-30 in the second game of the second set.
Game is Graf. One game all, second set.
Well, this was a surprisingly good pickup, a good return, and she just as quick as a flash converts it.
Fifteen all. Fifteen 30. Thirty all.
Pity that, because she had decided to try and find the Graf backhand. No easy matter from this first court.
30-40.
Steffi's slice backhand is working a dream today. This is just a beautiful drop shot. But what should you do if you hit a ball like that? You should step in and hit that ball in the air, and she paid the price.
Advantage, Miss Hingis. Juice.
Ah, yes.
Advantage, Miss Hingis. Game, Miss Hingis. Hingis leads 2-1 second set. First set, Miss Graf.
Seems to me that she is learning now to live at the pace that Graf set for most of the first set. That wasn't happening, but I think now it is.
Well, as you also said, John, she's beginning to be able to find Steffi's backhand more successfully. And even on the serves, Steffi's getting tentative on her backhand. I know she's keeping them very deep, but this one beautiful rally was a good example. She's managing to squeeze the ball into the backhand. You see, that's got nothing on it, really, that return. And she can play any shot she likes to the backhand, and she knows how to cover at the net. She does have a four-court game, which is good. In fact, she's done rather well in doubles this year, and she's also in this tournament. She's playing with Helena Sukova, and she's playing in the mixed.
Her mum can be pretty proud, I think, of this start to the second set, where there have been no breaks of serve, and Graf is 1-2.
Love 15. 15 all. Out. 30-50. Out. 40-50. Game is Graf. Two games all, second set.
With her second ace today, she finished off the opening set with her first. 2 all. Out graphing Graf there.
Left. Closer.
You may have heard the little bleep. That was the signal that it was a let.
When she retrieves so many balls, finally Steffi gets frustrated and goes for too much. That's the shot that I like so much. She manages on the run to play an unreadable shot.
$40-50. $40-30.
So twice the forehand has saved her. Can Hingis find the backhand? Well played, she can.
Hingis leads 3-2, second set. First set, Miss Graf.
And I think the other lovely thing about this is Hingis is obviously thinking clearly.
She certainly is. Her thought process always seems to be faultless on the court. This point in particular, you said, John, she's beginning to find the backhand. Good serve there. The slice is good, but it doesn't worry her at all because she can just wallop a topspin deep into the corner, and this one she can go wherever she likes. So many people cannot go down the line with that particular shot. And the right time to come in. There was nothing Steffi could do. She did the right shot there. She tried to lob it, couldn't get under the ball enough. So the serve is getting a little better, deep into the backhand corner. And this is a shot which is very low, but she still manages to topspin that. And the forehand here, it's hard to go down the line with this, except for Martina Hingis. She can go whichever way she likes. Going with serve. 2-3.
Out. 15 love.
Oh. Well, both players knew it was out. Hingis knew the moment she hit it, it was going to be long, but no call from the linesperson.
Out. 15 all. $15.30.
A little bit flustered, I think is the word I'd use at the moment. Just a tiny bit. Now that she's able to sustain a rally, there are all sorts of possibilities opening up.
$30.40.
So the break point has been earned.
Thank you.
Tremendous point, and Steffi really not knowing how to end the point other than a big forehand until she remembers that she can bring herself into the net and finish it off that way.
Advantage with Hingis.
And now beginning to enjoy finding the backhand. Another break point.
Juice. Advantage, Miss Graf.
Rather like the great Maureen Connolly, the American champion of the 1950s. She creates her openings, waits for the half-court ball and then into the gap.
Game, Miss Graf. Three games all, second set.
Putting Graf under serious threat for the second time in this match. Remember, she's already broken her serve once in the first set. Now 3-all.
Love 15. Left, first serve. All.
Not really the right shot to try there. That was very difficult. She had a couple of other options.
(15-30). (15-40). Game is Graf. Miss Graf leads 4 games to 3, second set, and 1 set to love.
So Steffi Graf regains control of that second set. Meanwhile, over on court number 1, Sabine Appelmans is, well, on course for a big upset there against the number 4 seed, Arantxa Sanchez-Vicario, last year's finalist. She's taken the first set 6-3, and she's up a break in the second set. That match is over on BBC 2 at the moment. The drama continues here at Wimbledon, it seems, in the second week. Let's now return, though, to centre court.
So the vital break of serve midway through this second set. You can't buy experience.
No, and also the lack of it on the other side. But Steffi showed us a few glimpses of what can go wrong with her game when somebody knows how to play, or somebody can keep putting the ball deep into that backhand corner. She'll stay in the rally for a while, and then she'll be so anxious to make a winner and get out of it that she'll start making a few errors and not thinking quite so clearly. But as you say, experience and the knowledge that she wins so much make her stay pretty calm in the heat, and that she did, and she now has the break. 4-3 in the set.
Whoop. Wonderful. Swinging fast and early. Having another look at this winning forehand. Here it is. Almost a half volley. So natural.
30 love. 40 love.
Oh, well played.
She has the capacity to return well off both sides, but the backhand then very early.
What Virginia Wade was saying, just a little bit over-ambitious in the middle of a rally.
Let versa. Game is Graf. Graf leads 5-3, second set.
Very disappointing for Hingis that some of her best shots hit to a wonderful length are coming back to an even more perfect length and with pace. 3-5.
Love 15.
Oh yes,
Love 30.
another half volley winner with that instinctive forehand. You would never teach anybody to play swinging as late as that, but it's so good when it's natural.
15-30.
Well, utterly ruthless with that wonderful forehand, which has produced 2 match points.
Thank you. Juice.
Finding the backhand twice and getting 2 errors.
Advantage, Miss Hingis. Game, Miss Hingis. 2 balls, please. Miss Graf leads 5-4, second set, and by 1 set to love.
Well, she did well, did Hingis. Those match points saved by, at last, finding the backhand.
And it's a little rough on her when her only sortie to the centre court is against Steffi Graf. Last year she got 4 games, and this year at least she's made an improvement. Still hitting the ball well. It just seemed that just as she began to get the feel and get comfortable, she didn't have enough in hand to survive that little crisis. She got rather exhausted trying to break the serve at the 3-all, didn't make it, and then of course Steffi also had survived her little moment of panic, and she got better. But it was so funny. I thought Steffi was dying to hit a backhand topspin at match point, and hesitated and thought maybe I shouldn't on match point, and then hit not a very good slice backhand anyway. Always the price you pay for indecision on the tennis court. Well, a nice black cloud coming up, so let's expect Steffi's going to try and beat that. Serving for the set and the match. 5-4.
Love.
And the raindrops are falling.
Long.
Finding the new balls just a little bit faster.
Long.
So a third ace, bringing 3 more match points.
Game, set, match was Graf. 6-1, 6-4.
And I think Steffi Graf will be pretty glad to have that one behind her. A potentially awkward encounter against one of the 2 people who have beaten her in 1996. And I think glad too to have beaten the rain. Just odd spots still falling. It's very dark here, though perhaps you wouldn't think so, thanks to the wonders of electronics. The light is not marvellous. And a little curtsy to the Duchess of Gloucester in the royal box as they leave the court. Graf the winner, 6-1, 6-4 in 55 minutes of actual play.
So Steffi Graf is the first player through to the quarterfinals, where she will meet either Jana Novotná, who of course she met in the final here in '93, or Patricia He Boulay. That match later on an outside court. But Steffi Graf is through to the quarterfinals. But news of the number 4, just 15 years old, the score 6-1, 6-4. And right after the match she spoke to Gary Richardson.
Do you actually get a little more nervous for a match like that because you're playing a 15-year-old and she really has nothing to lose?
Not really, no. I think, actually I went out there a lot looser than I sometimes do, and I was going for my shots really early on. Maybe because I've lost the last match against her in Rome, that's maybe why I was a little better on my toes and kind of wanted to start off well.
Because it was, in the end, plain sailing for you?
Pretty much, yes, true.
Do you feel at all that you've actually been tested in any way at this Wimbledon?
Oh yeah, I think I definitely had some closer sets. Obviously I haven't lost the set yet, but especially in the first 2 rounds I had a little bit more trouble than I'm usually having, but it's probably because I had a lack of grass practice. But the last 2 matches I'm starting to get a better rhythm, better feeling for my shots, and so things are starting to get into place.
When rain interrupts, as it did, what do you actually do when you go off?
Stretch, wait, change shirt. There weren't too long of a breaks today, so it wasn't really too uncomfortable. I started to do some fan mail, but you usually sit around and maybe read something else.
You do fan mail, you say. You answer letters from fans, and you get lots here, obviously.
Lots, yes. Yeah.
We were speaking last week about your injury, and you were going into a few details. Over the weekend, Martina Navratilova said that you don't really have a problem at all, and you're sort of making it up a bit. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't really pay too much attention to that, and actually we talked a couple of days ago about it, and she said sorry because it wasn't really the way she wanted to say it, and you know, I wish things that she said would be true, and I would feel a lot better about it. But I've never been a person who likes to talk about injuries or take them as an excuse. I've never done that, and I think I never will.
So injury-wise, you're still feeling overall pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, I was moving very well around the court today, no problems at all. So I've been feeling pretty well.
And a nice early finish for you now. People would wonder, well, what do you do? Do you go home and listen to Wimbledon on the radio? Do you watch it on the television? Do you go to the theatre? What do you do?
Actually, I've been really busy the past week, and I didn't get to the city once. I've been in Wimbledon every single night, and we really didn't have a chance to go out at all. So maybe this afternoon I'm trying to take the time to maybe go into the city for once.
Did you get a chance to see the football last night?
Sure, I watched it on television. I didn't go there, but obviously I was watching very closely.
So she's been given a double celebration now, Germany winning last night, and she's now through to the quarterfinals.